Komorebi. You're walking under old trees on an ordinary afternoon. The sun is somewhere above the canopy, broken into pieces by the leaves. And the ground in front of you is moving. Coins of light, shifting and sliding over the path, the bark, the backs of your hands. A small wind goes through the branches and the whole pattern breathes. You slow down without deciding to. The Japanese have a word for exactly this. Komorebi. The light that filters through the leaves of trees, scattered and alive on whatever it lands on. It names something most languages leave nameless. The specific beauty of sunlight after the leaves have had their way with it. And there's a reason it pulls your attention so gently. Your mind is built to relax in front of this exact kind of scene. Patterns that are almost regular but never quite repeat hold you without demanding anything. You don't have to focus and you don't get bored. The shifting light gives the restless part of your brain something soft to rest on. This is why a forest floor can quiet you faster than a blank white wall ever could. You weren't looking for it. The light just reached down through the leaves and asked you for a moment to stay. Hiraeth. You go back to the town you grew up in, years later. The streets are the right shape, but the shops have other names now. The house you lived in has a different door, a different color. And the ache that rises isn't quite homesickness because you're standing right there. You're home and somehow still longing for home. The Welsh have a word for this. Hiraeth. A longing for a place you can't return to, or that maybe never existed the way you remember it. It belongs to a small nation that held onto its language through centuries of pressure to give it up. A people who knew what it was to grieve a home that was changing under their feet. And the strange part is what your memory has actually done. It didn't keep the place. It kept a version of the place, smoothed and warmed and lit from a particular angle. So when you go back, the real town can never match the one you carry. You're not homesick for a town. You're homesick for a time, and time doesn't have an address. The door you want to walk through closed quietly behind you years ago. And part of you has been standing at it ever since. Querencia. There's one place where you become yourself again. Maybe it's a chair by a particular window, a stretch of coast, a kitchen at 6 in the morning before anyone's awake. You arrive there carrying the whole day, and within minutes something in your shoulders lets go. You breathe lower in your body. You stop performing because there's no one here to perform for. The Spanish have a word for this place. Querencia. It comes strangely from the bull ring. It's the spot the bull keeps returning to, the place where it feels strongest and safest, where it gathers itself. Over time, the word grew to mean any place where you feel most at home in yourself. And your body keeps a real map of these places. A space where you've felt safe before tells your nervous system it can stand down. Your guard drops, your breathing slows, and the low background hum of vigilance finally goes quiet. Everyone needs at least one of these, a small territory the world isn't allowed to follow you into. Not to hide from your life. To remember for a little while who's underneath it. Gigil. A baby grabs your finger with its whole tiny fist, or a puppy stumbles over its own feet and rights itself, completely serious about it. And something almost violent rises up in you. You want to squeeze. You clench your hands, you might even grit your teeth. You hear yourself make a sound that isn't quite a word. You don't want to hurt it. You want to do something with how much it's affecting you, and squeezing is the closest thing. In Filipino, this is gigil, the overwhelming urge to clench or squeeze something because it is unbearably cute. And for once, science has caught up to the word. Researchers call it cute aggression, and they've watched it happen in the brain. When a wave of positive feeling gets too big, your mind sends a second, almost opposite signal to pull you back from the edge. The aggression isn't real aggression. It's a break. A burst of fake ferocity your brain uses to keep an overload of tenderness from tipping you over. So the next time something is so cute it almost hurts, that's exactly what's happening. Your heart got too full, and your body reached for the nearest way to let some out. Toska. It's a gray afternoon and nothing is wrong. You have nothing to complain about, which somehow makes it worse. And yet there's a weight in your chest, a dull ache with no object and no cause you can point to. You're not grieving anyone. You're not afraid of anything. You just feel a vague, restless longing for something you can't name and have never had. The Russians have a word for this: Toska. Nabokov, trying to carry it into English, finally gave up and described it instead. At its deepest, he wrote, it's a great spiritual anguish, often with no specific cause. At its lightest, a dull ache of the soul, a longing with nothing to long for. And there's something almost honest about a feeling like this. Most of the time, your mind hands you a reason for every mood. But sometimes the longing arrives with no story attached. No problem to solve, no person to miss. Just the bare sensation of wanting, pointed at nothing. It can feel like something is wrong with you. It isn't. It's just the human capacity for longing, idling, with nowhere in particular to go. Cafuné. You're lying with your head in someone's lap, and without really thinking about it, they start running their fingers slowly through your hair. No pattern, no purpose. Just the soft drag of fingertips along your scalp, again and again. Your eyes get heavy. The conversation trails off and neither of you minds. In Brazilian Portuguese, there's a word for exactly this. Cafuné. The act of tenderly running your fingers through someone's hair, and your skin is wired to receive it. You have a special set of nerves that respond only to slow, gentle touch and to almost nothing else. They don't report facts about the world. They speak directly to the part of the brain that handles belonging and calm. Slow strokes through the hair land precisely in their range, and the body answers by lowering its defenses. This is older than language. It's how primates have said you're safe with me since long before there were any words for it. Cafuné is just our name for that ancient sentence, spoken with the hands. Fernweh. You're at your desk, and a photo of somewhere you've never been crosses your screen. A coast road, a city at dusk, a train pulling out toward the mountains. And it lands like a physical pull low in the chest. Not a pleasant little daydream. An ache. A homesickness, except it's aimed at a place you've never set foot in. The Germans, who already have a word for missing home, built its mirror image. Fernweh. Where Heimweh is homesickness, Fernweh is far sickness. The longing to be somewhere far away, anywhere that isn't here. And it runs on a quiet trick of the mind. The place you're standing in comes with all of its details, the bills, the routine, the dull edges. The faraway place comes with none of them, because you've never had to live there. So your mind compares your full, complicated here with a clean, imagined elsewhere, and elsewhere wins every time. The pull is real, even if the destination is half-invented. And part of what you miss isn't a place at all. It's the version of yourself you imagine you'd finally get to be there. Sehnsucht. A certain piece of music comes on, or a particular slant of evening light hits a wall. And for a second you're flooded with a longing so strong it almost hurts. But the strangest thing is this. You can't say what you're longing for. It isn't a person, or a place, or memory you can hold up and name. It feels like homesickness for somewhere you've never been and can't quite picture. The Germans call this Sehnsucht, a deep, aching longing for something undefined, something more perfect than anything life actually offers. A writer once described it as the inconsolable longing in the heart for we know not what. And here's the quiet paradox inside it. The thing you're longing for may not exist anywhere at all. The feeling isn't really pointed at an object. It's pointed at a sense that there is more, just past the edge of ordinary life. That's why it can never be satisfied and why it doesn't really want to be. The longing itself is the experience. A door opening for 1 second onto a room you'll never get to enter, and the ache it leaves behind is its own strange proof that the room is there. Mångata. It's late and you're standing at the edge of still water. The moon is up, and it has laid a path across the surface, straight to where you stand. A long, shimmering road of broken light, pointing right at you. It looks solid enough to walk on, and some quiet part of you wants to, all the way out to the moon. But the moment you step toward it, it would slide away across the water and stay exactly out of reach. The Swedish word for that road of light is Mångata, the glimmering road-like reflection the moon makes on the water. A path you can see perfectly and never once set foot on. And maybe that's the right place to end, because every feeling in this video has been a little like that road, something real right in front of you that the usual words slide off of. You can see it. You just can't quite walk all the way out to it. That's what these words are for. Not to capture the feeling completely, just to lay down a little light on the water so you know which way it was. If one of these finally named something you've stood inside of without words, tell me which one found you. And leave the feeling you still carry that no language has ever handed you. Somewhere out there in some language, it may already have a name. And it might be the first one in the next one.